Thanks for joining us this afternoon on KARE 11 News Now. I'm Rena Sargentopoulos. Let's get right to your headlines. Some breaking news this afternoon. The Golden Gophers have a new head men's basketball coach. According to Sports Illustrated, Minnesota's hiring Colorado State head coach Niko Medved just hours after his team lost in the NCAA tournament. Medved led the team to the round of 32 in the tournament, but lost Sunday to Maryland. It was the team's second straight NCAA tournament and the third in the last 4 seasons. Now, this is a homecoming for Medved, who grew up in Roseville and went to the University of Minnesota. He's expected to be introduced sometime tomorrow. He will, of course, replace Ben Johnson, who was fired earlier this month after 4 years of leading the program. That decision to fire Johnson happening just hours after Minnesota lost in the first round of the Big Ten tournament. New this afternoon, President Trump asking the Supreme Court to block a lower court's ruling reinstating thousands of fired probationary federal employees. The firings, part of the Trump administration's efforts to downsize the federal government. The case involves a San Francisco judge ruling requiring half a dozen federal agencies to immediately offer more than 16,000 probationary workers their jobs back. Several other federal judges have declined to step in on the waves of firings at the federal level. The judge that did step in says he believes the Office of Personnel Management unlawfully directed the agencies to carry out those layoffs. Happening today, President Trump huddling with his cabinet as protests grow across the country over the administration's government cuts and increasing prices from new tariffs. It comes as a 3-judge panel hears arguments today from the administration about why they believe the president has the power to keep deporting alleged gang members to a prison in a country most of them have never stepped foot in. Meanwhile, fired workers at the Department of Education coming in to collect their belongings this morning. That's after President Trump signed an executive order starting the process of dismantling the department and sending oversight of education to the states. Some workers say they're devastated as the new education secretary says these cuts will make better education in the long run.
I always loved working for Department of Education to help the children of the nation and people. So yeah, no, I never think that it would end like this. I never, ever. I don't see what good it is going to do.
As I talked to senators on both sides who did have concerns, and I said, look, I want to work in partnership with you because our goal is to make sure that we are providing the best education for students in our country. We cannot be last in the world in education.
Education Minnesota says Title I funding for low-income students, resources for students with special needs, and Pell Grants will be fully preserved but redistributed to various other agencies. It is important to note congressional approval will be needed to fully eliminate the department. Happening right now, one of the people convicted in the mass shooting at a backyard punk show in South Minneapolis is being sentenced. Dominic Burris pleaded guilty to aiding and abetting second-degree murder and first-degree assault. The 18-year-old, who prosecutors say was the major player in the 2023 shooting, was 17 at the time, but certified as an adult. We do have a crew in court this afternoon. We will bring you any updates as we learn them right here on KARE 11 Plus. Right now, federal prosecutors making big moves to try and keep former state senator Justin Eichorn in jail until his trial. He was scheduled to be released tomorrow from federal custody after being arrested for allegedly trying to have sex with someone he thought was a 17-year-old girl. Now prosecutors say he lied to them and is trying to hide evidence. The lies involve his guns, as detailed in court documents filed just yesterday. It's the first time we are seeing these photos. Here is a red bag FBI agents found at the ex-senator's St. Paul apartment. Inside were a laptop, an iPhone, as well as a gun and ammunition. He previously told authorities he did not have a gun at his apartment. That is according to prosecutors. As far as the laptop, prosecutors say Eichorn schemed to hide it from investigators, and that was allegedly through a close associate that he called from jail. As for the iPhone, prosecutors say it was recently put into factory reset mode, suggesting someone tried to wipe all memory from it. We also learn more details about the other men allegedly involved in the sting operation where Eichorn was arrested. We'll have much more on that coming up for you on KARE 11 News at 4, 5, and 6. Happening right now across the East Coast, I should say, a race to contain multiple wildfires that are burning from South Carolina to New Jersey. Hundreds of people have been evacuated across several states, and Mother Nature is not helping push back the flames. NBC's Kathy Parks is in South Carolina, where crews have been battling the flames for days.
The race to contain wildfires from New Jersey to the Carolinas is being hampered by dry conditions and strong winds.
This has been going all the time, you know.
Overnight, a blaze burning at Table Rock State Park in South Carolina, growing to more than 1,000 acres. As crews tackled the tough terrain with critical water drops from the air.
This is an unusually high fire occurrence fire season than we've had in quite a while.
In neighboring North Carolina, 3 active wildfires are burning, triggering mandatory evacuations in the western part of the state.
We called in multiple fire departments to come assist us.
Officials warning residents living close to the flames to leave now or risk being trapped, even killed. Those fires hitting areas still recovering from Hurricane Helene 6 months ago. Farther up the East Coast in New Jersey, a wildfire that erupted Saturday in Wharton State Forest is now largely contained, but not before flames scorched more than 2,300 acres. And the fires aren't the only wild weather. In Mississippi, 2 possible tornadoes touching down on Sunday. This twister visible from the road in Rolling Fork. Back in South Carolina, with the wildfires not letting up, officials hope they'll get a little help from Mother Nature.
Any type of moisture in this situation will be helpful to put the fire in a safe place.
Well, you have to see this video. Special agents in Los Angeles blowing up this house after an earlier explosion at the home that hurt several people. One of those people is still in the hospital. Authorities say the home likely exploded because of fireworks, so they evacuated the home and several neighbors, doused the home in diesel fuel, and then started it on fire. Officials say they had to burn the remaining explosives in the home because they were, quote, too volatile to move. It has been a year and a half since Minnesota legalized marijuana. Right now, cannabis cultivation already underway for the Prairie Island community down in Hastings. The Island Paisy Cannabis Dispensary has officially opened a 13-acre site, and Gordon Severson went to check it out.
We're here in Hastings at a 13-acre cannabis campus to give you an inside look at the growing cannabis industry here in Minnesota.
So we're going to head to the veg rooms where all of life begins.
A circle of life that starts here in the cultivation room.
For the veg, you see 5 racks here.
Every rack is filled with small starter plants that after 10 days are transplanted into 1-gallon pots.
Pouches are actually pretty cool. They're all made from recycled plastic.
Yadel Mulugeta is a transplant himself. After spending years working in the cannabis industry in Colorado,
Just take a clipping here.
his wife, a native Minnesotan, convinced him to move here.
I said, if you guys legalize cannabis, I'll consider it.
He's now the operations manager, in charge of starting the plants and eventually moving them into one of their greenhouses.
8 greenhouses that are in the process of being built, almost completed.
Blake Johnson is the president of Prairie Island CBH Inc., which manages the site.
Right over there.
He says the campus was designed for sustainability.
A meaningful way of protecting Mother Earth and being able to preserve as much as possible.
To cut down on fuel and travel costs, the team processes the plants here on site. They also partnered with North Star Canna to turn the plants into products.
Today they are stuffing the pre-rolls. We have multiple hands doing that.
Neil Hultgren and his team also make the gummies and other edibles in the same building where the plants are cultivated.
We can create a high quality product from seed all the way to the shelf to that final retail product.
A full circle facility where even the leftover plants and stems are turned into compost, so the circle can start again.
That we are giving back to the land as much as we're taking out, right? We try to preserve as much as possible.
And here on this campus, they have plenty of room to grow, plenty of sites that they can add extra buildings so they can grow alongside of this cannabis industry here in Minnesota. Gordon Severson, KARE 11 News.
Stick with us. More news and weather coming up after the break.